Once again, today's top stories. London has endured another night of German bombing. Most damage was concentrated in the East End. The RAF has struck enemy aerodromes in Le Havre and the Low Countries. In Russia, further German losses are reported around Leningrad. In Asia, the American fortress at Corregidor is still defiant, but Japanese forces are reported nearing the Burmese oil fields. And that concludes the news summary. We now return you to our music program.
See here, this isn't about your dedication. Pringle certainly attests to your loyalty. No, your dismissal stems from the Titanic mission. That failure can no longer be ignored, especially now. I am sorry, but someone must shoulder the blame. The service, you understand. We can't be held responsible. The past, forever locked in regret. But what if the past could be changed? Years have come and gone since the night that saw the end of a world, my world. The service needed someone on the Titanic. They chose me. I was to wait for a signal from my contact, so I remained in my cabin. I left only once. Georgia was on board. And that's when it came. There'd be no second chance. It was Sunday, April 14th. Too late, you see, for the Titanic, for me. What if I'd met with my contact, prevented disaster? What if the past could be changed? What then?
Good evening. I am Smethels, your steward, and, if I may say so, it is good to see you up and about. You've been in your cabin the whole voyage. A touch of the mal de mer, was it? Seasickness can be quite unpleasant, especially if it's one's first crossing. Since you haven't been out of your cabin, may I instruct you on how to get assistance while on board the Titanic? Very well. Your correspondence. 2,200 on board, and they all want messages delivered promptly. Even if it is 1912, and the Titanic, the most advanced means of sea conveyance ever devised, I still have only 2 hands. Here, a map of the ship for you. Compliments of the White Star Line. I have taken the liberty of indicating your cabin, C-73. Of course, on a Sunday evening at this hour, there won't be many people out. Will there be anything else? A young lady. A most insistent young lady. The electric camel, an exercise device. They say it is good for the liver. I wouldn't know. It's located in the gymnasium, on the boat deck, on the starboard side. That's the right side, in case you had not been informed. Most certainly, remember the term forward. It means towards the front, or bow, of the ship. The term aft refers to the Titanic's back, or stern. Have you unpacked? You'll find your trunk key in your bag, on the bed. And remember your personal effects, your watch and bag. If you require additional assistance, please ring the bell by the door. Good night.
Majesty's government has assigned an agent of the Crown to rendezvous with you on board the Titanic. Remain in your cabin until your contact gives you further instructions. After completion of all your assignments on board, book passage to remain on the ship and return to Southampton for your next assignment. For a more in-depth report of the international situation in the spring of 1912, please review the white paper included as part of this briefing. That is all.
Glory be. It's about time. You're late. Another 5 minutes and I'd have cancelled your mission. Yes, I'm Pringle. Penny Pringle. From the Bureau of Secret Service. You didn't think they'd plunk you down on this bucket of bolts and millionaires alone, did you? Look at this. A German colonel named Zeitel. He's inspecting their embassies in Havana, Washington, and Mexico City. We know better. 10 days ago, the Bureau got word that Zeitel has in his possession a priceless copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, stolen 2 months ago in Paris after its purchase by a very highly placed member of His Majesty's government. The Rubaiyat's a book, a collection of medieval Persian poetry, a passion of his lordship's. Poetry. Persians. The German High Command must think it's important enough to have their top man smuggle the lot on board. It's your job to find out. His lordship's watching this very closely indeed. I wouldn't fumble this chance either, unless you fancy spending the rest of your career in some grotty Midlands back office shuffling paper about. No, he's with a protégé, name of Heidelitz, I believe. The two spend a great deal of time in the Café Parisien, nibbling pastries. Get into the wireless room. I don't know or care how. Officer Morrow wouldn't let me in. See if Zeitel's received or sent any telegrams about the Rubaiyat. You've got a cryptograph in your trunk. It'll unscramble the German codes for you. You use the brains God gave you. Watch people. Listen. When you find the Rubaiyat, knock on my door. Cabin F, 34. Use the second-class stairs. You should be set. Remember, this is your big chance. Don't fail.
Sorry, this section's off limits. Passengers aren't allowed on the bridge. Officer Morrow's in no mood to accommodate passengers right now. He's misplaced his binoculars, and he's in a right proper state about it too. Off with you now.
After all this time, it's Georgia. I'd heard you on board. Where have you been? It's been 5 years. I'd have waited a lot longer to see you again. Why didn't you tell me where you'd gone? Dina hadn't a clue, nor did Jack. My letters were returned. Just like you to show up now, with everything such a beastly mess. You must help me. You've no doubt heard the rumors. I won't deny most of them. I can't. Even if the money's gone, I won't give the diamonds to Charles, never. These are all that remains. My insurance for a new life without Charles or Saoirse. Saoirse, the owner of the Barbican Gallery. We're friends, of a sort. He's sailing on the Titanic, taking some paintings to New York to sell. Please. I mustn't talk any longer. Take it. Take the necklace. It's my only chance now. Keep it for me. And don't tell Charles you have it. You can't know what he's like.
Come here. Don't you love the sea air? Really clears out the sinuses. Max Seidelman, Philadelphia, PA. Buyer for Haymaker's department store. The Sharpie of Spruce Street, they call me. You a sporting type? You look like the sporting type. Come on down to the smoking room for a nightcap. Riviera's looking for someone to play a few hands of blackjack with him. What do you say? Not much else to do. Not tonight. Brrr. Cold as a cast iron commode out here. So, what do you say? Great. First, let's swing by the Parisian Cafe. There's a man there named Zeidel, a German. Claims he's a businessman, but he's got something up the sleeve, all right. I know the type, believe me. Dollars to donuts, he's in some racket. So come with, why don't you? We'll hit the smoking room from there. Hey, Colonel, how you doing? Willie? Like you to meet a friend.
A pleasure. Heidelitz and I, we welcome diversion during such an uneventful passage, don't we, Willie?
Certainly.
Willie is at the University of Vienna, dissecting children's fables.
Cultural mythology, it's quite interesting. So only a junior professor, I tried to interest Dr. Freud. He's a genius, and
Yes, I am sure, quite. On the passenger list, it says you embarked at Cherbourg. Yet I have not seen you with the others. You were there, were you not? I see. You are British. Not so many of you in Titanic's first cabins. These days, most of the rich are Americans. Businessmen like Max. Tell me, why do you go to New York? I'm envious. Unfortunately, my work does not permit me to indulge in the pleasures of the leisure class.
The theory of the leisure class? I have read Professor Hebron. He's quite good.
Quite. Me? Inspecting our embassies. Imperial Germany desires to make a good impression in North America. Willie is continuing on, to the west, to conduct research on Aboriginal customs.
The Indians, they are fascinating.
Yes, yes. However, I place faith in science, not superstition.
The Colonel was saying this wireless stuff's revolutionizing everything. Sending messages to each other. It's the end of books and newspapers.
Like the Titanic, a technological triumph. Here we dined in comfort while racing along at 20 knots. It's still tied to the outside world by the wireless.
That reminds me, Colonel Seidel, when I go to send you a telegram, they told me it was to be delayed. There are too many messages. The passengers...
I am sure our guests do not care to hear a detailed discussion of your encounter with telegraphy. Now, if you will excuse me...
Please, excuse us.
Won't you call on us tomorrow? Here, in the cafe. The Linzer Tort's quite passable for a British ship. Stop by. Willie and I welcome it most heartily.
Yes, most heartily.
And before I leave, you must allow me to give you some advice. But do not wander the ship. It is not good, I think, on a ship as big as the Titanic. Good night, friends.
Good night.
See? What did I tell you? What did I say? Them too. Up to something, I'd say. The brainy kid gives me the creeps. What a grind. He should hang out with that little blonde. She's a looker, I tell you. Come on, let's hit the smoking room. I'll introduce you to Riviera. What do you say? Great. Go on up. I gotta see a man about a horse. I'll meet you in a few minutes. Goodbye.
dear, it's Daisy, Daisy Cashmore. Surely you remember. Oh, you are naughty thing. Don't think I didn't know you'd snuck on at Cherbourg. Smethels told me all about it. The old boy's always dripping with news. Heard about Lord and Lady Lambeth. Ruined utterly. Scarcely enough left for appearances, I'm told. I always liked Georgia. Married Charles for his name and his fortune, sensible girl. But she's made her nest. Now she must live in it. Well, what do we think? Gorgeous, isn't it? Everyone's raving, gushing. The Titanic couldn't be more fabulous. And the sailing couldn't have been more convenient. Everyone's here. The Astors, the George Wideners, the Countess of Ross, such a wonderful girl. The Strausses, I saw them on D-deck tonight. The Ryersons, the Henry Harpers. I could just go on and on. And the ship's so very advanced. I was just saying to my dear friends, the Carters, they're bringing back a motor car, do you believe, in the cargo hold. Bill Carter checks it daily. Really, every day. He keeps the keys with the purser. And of course they let them. The Carters are fantastically rich. Lucille doesn't understand the attraction at all. With men and machines, I tell her, we girls play second fiddle. Well, my dear, I have a little favor, a tiny one. Tonight at dinner, a man I don't know was making eyes at me. Be an absolute darling and find out who he is. Look him up in the passenger list. All I know are his initials, GQC. The list's someplace. Find it. I'll wait right here. Ta!
I say, what's your step?
Are you hurt, Henry?
No harm done. No harm.
I'm so sorry.
Trot on my toe.
We're the Goss Joneses from Haltwhistle, you know. How are you finding the crossing? You're English, then? I would have thought American. Oh, my. I didn't mean to insult you.
Can't hold a thought.
Dreadfully large place, America.
Brain like as if she's got...
All that space and all those immigrants trying to fill it up. I was just commenting to Henry, on a White Star crossing one meets all the right people. While we were just chatting with a delightful elderly couple in the reception. The Strausses, wasn't that right?
Own a small dry goods store in New York somewhere. Called Macy's.
On D-deck.
Ribena, must you always finish my sentences? You're as jumpy as that American chap, that photographer.
Yes, he was just snapping away.
Taking pictures of some German colonel and that Englishman.
Snap, snap, snap.
War's coming, all right. Mark my words.
War? How beastly. Will Mr. Burns have to fight? He and his wife, such sweet things. But I do see her point. It is their honeymoon. Why he insists on snapping those photos, I haven't a clue.
For God's sake, woman, talk, like a madam in a Rangoon bawdy house.
Henry, that's unspeakable.
So don't speak, then. Yaps louder than a scrum of rabid corgis. Now see here, this Burns chap.
If you want to see something interesting, take a look at his pictures. He's on C deck, cabin C, 78.
Yes, can I help you? I can check valuables, store cargo, list passengers, etc. Have you a name? If you do, I can tell you their cabin number. Let me check. Aha, Mr. George Quincy Clifford, A27. 5? Who are you, anyway? I haven't seen you about, and I've the passenger list. We've already had trouble with one lady in second who's tried crashing first class. Deck games are usually reserved for daylight hours. I live to serve. Glad to be of service. Good night.
Did you get it? Get his name? Clifford. Clifford. Never heard of him. You don't suppose he's rich, do you? You're an angel, and I've news for you, too. While you were gone, Andrew Conkling's been asking for you. Yes, Conkling, the steel baron. God knows what he's been doing in Europe, buying it probably. And where was I? Oh, yes, Andrew Conkling asked me to pass along this. You know his wife Beatrix, the designer? Such an eye! Her clothes preserve the bust line. Couldn't be more flattering. Keeps the eye moving. Much nicer than Worth's. They're friends with Captain Smith. Smith! So handsome, so dashing. White Star's best officer, or was. He's retiring after this voyage. Couldn't be more tragic. My dear, you've blanched. Bad news? Certainly, certainly, I must... It's Mrs. Burbank! Consuelo!
I don't know you, nor do I want to. Leave me or I shall summon a steward. Tell me, do you approve of women who smoke? You're witty. Most men take their indulgences one at a time. Combine them, like women with tobacco, and they pitch fits. Pity. I must stop our chat here. I've other concerns. My maid, she's left us. Yes, well, good night.
Let me introduce you to Buick Riviera. Remember, he's French, and you know what they're like. Come here.
Good evening, mon ami. Buick Riviera welcomes you to the tables. I am always delighted to play with friends of Max. You look familiar. We make a meeting before? Deauville? The casino at Monaco? New Mexico. I lived there once, in Diamondback. Such a town. So, have we met? Too bad.
Good luck. You'll need it.
Try your luck. I have won, as you see. Je regrette. Again? I win. You like to play again? The cards, they played well. I win. Another hand, mon ami? It is a draw, mon ami. You like to play again? You win. Another hand, mon ami? Fortune, she favors me. It is in the cards. Again? I have won as you see. Je regrette. You like to play again? Blackjack. You are the winner. Again? Good night.
How you doing? Buick fleeced you too? You know, you're letting me do all the talking. If you don't mind me asking, just why are you headed to New York? Guess we all got our secrets, don't we? See you around, bub. Good night.
Yes, can I help you? You found him. What do you want? Well, unfortunately, I don't have time to show it to you. Gee, thanks, I think so. I wish Stephanie agreed with you. My wife's angry with me because I've spent more time with my camera than with her. She just doesn't understand that a photographer can't stop taking pictures even on his honeymoon. Have you seen Stephanie? She's wearing a blue hat. I better wait for her. Hello. Good to see you again. Did you see Stephanie? She must really be sore with me. You've got pretty good advice. I'm going to find her right now. Excuse me. Good night.
Try to intercept Zeitel's telegrams. Get inside the wireless room. Surely someone on board knows what he's up to. And don't forget the cryptograph in your trunk. It will unscramble the German codes. Most importantly, find the Rubaiyat. Meanwhile, I'll conduct my own investigation. Off with you now. Go!
Good evening. Third Officer Morrow here. Sorry, the wireless room's off limits to passengers. No passengers allowed. Yes, very calm. No moon. I don't like that. Can't see what's coming. No moon means surprises, as if we don't have enough already. Mr. Ismay, the White Star Line's president's on board. We're walking eggshells round him, I tell you. Though that's nothing compared to the creeping about my brother-in-law's doing at the moment. His entire London office is in an uproar. Tom works in the Admiralty. Seems our plans for troop deployments against Germany disappeared 3 weeks ago. Tom says the big boys are petrified the Jerrys will get wind of it. Could upset the balance of power. Politics, desktop espionage, bureaucrats. Pah, give me the sea. You can toss the rest. Never have. Not since the war. South Africa. Boer War. The officer was a drinker. He was drunk when they trapped us out on the veldt. On a moonless night. It was a massacre. We never saw them coming. Drink always leads to the devil. An interesting connection. For all I know, it could be true. A man's got his troubles. Sick child, being away from home. But I hate whiners and apologizers. Well, thank you for your insight. Have a look, why don't you? Mind you, Phillips will have my head if he catches you in there. But I don't see any harm. Go on in. What can I do for you? Ah, my binoculars. Thank you. Borrowed them from Fleet earlier tonight. He's up in the crow's nest. Hope he has another pair with him. Oh, guess I left them somewhere. Thanks again. Good night. I think you've seen enough. Seaman, check course. Now I remember why passengers aren't allowed on the bridge.
Decoded the message. Smashing. The boiler rooms. Blast. There's an entrance to the lower decks around here somewhere. Query the lift attendant. He's cheeky, but he knows this ship. Intercept the Rubaiyat before it changes hands.
A passenger? I can't regulate the steam for boilers 1 and 2, so I don't have time for you. You're where you shouldn't be. Get up top, before you're kicked up there. Oh, I doubt it. She's really acting up. See? Still working the bugs out of her. See for yourself. Have at it. There's a gauge showing the turbine's power output. The needle's got to move into the green zone. Over here. Still running too rough. What's wrong? Here, take a look at the instruction manual. You might have better luck than me. Right. There's a gauge showing the turbine's power output. The needle's got to move into the green zone. right smart, you were. She's running much smoother now. Say, since you were so interested, go on, have a peek in the engine room. She's quite a sight.
What have we here? The fancy dress ball's upstairs, mate. Ready? Check out the toff. All right. You've come to see her guts, have you? Oh, you have you? Sod off. All right, they're back for a right proper pummeling. All right, now, let's see what the toffs are made of. Come on, leadhead. Jerk? That's the best you can do? Jerk? You're just an ugly cur. What? Nobody talks that way about me, Mum. Off with you.
You are a passenger. Excuse me, I would speak with you. Forgive me, I am sorry to intrude on you, a person of such high station. I am Vlad. I have many. I am leaving my home. I am a Serb and they have killed my wife, my children, the Austrians. For that they will pay. But I do not want to burden you. Please, I need a favor. I have a friend in first class, in cabin A14. Mr. Barbican has a package for me. Can you bring it here? Me enter first class like this? No. They would catch Vlad. His name is Barbican, in A14. Tell him you've come from Vlad. He will give you the package. I wait here for your return. Your assistance will be repaid manyfold.
What are you doing back here? Find that blasted book. I'll see if I can dig something up on him. He may be down there looking for the Rubaiyat. I suggest you find out. Intercept the Rubaiyat before it changes hands.
You found him. Sasha Barbican of Barbican Galleries. Now, what is it that I can help you with? For Vlad? He's on board? Please come in. He did it. I told him not to, told him I'd pay his ticket, but he was too proud. Such a tragedy about his family. They were with my mother's people. When Austria took Bosnia, they were killed. Many were. With his family dead, America seems as good a place as any for Vlad. Ask Vlad, I don't know. Here, his things. He'll be glad to get them. It's rather late. Good night. Enjoy your voyage.
Thank you. I must see Mr. Barbican. I've bad news. He will not be happy. I am looking for something. Something very important. But it's not here. You have seen a small... It is of no importance. Good night.
Think you can outwit a fireman like me? Think again. All right now, let's see what the toffs are made of. Come on, Leadhead. Jerk? That's the best you can do? Jerk? You're just an ugly cur. And you're a stupid, ugly, drunken cur. Well, they're a fine sight prettier than your ugly face. Better company, too. Bugger off! Up top with you, now!
Did you get it? Did you find the Rubaiyat? Smashing. What have you learned? I was wondering how you got so dirty. There's a spot on your cheek. Yes, right there. You got it. More art? Zeitel's no connoisseur. No, there's something about that painting of interest to the German High Command. I don't have any information about Vlad, but the other fellow, look here. Zeitel's Titanic contact is a London art dealer named Sasha Barbican. They say he smuggles art, and he's not above selling stolen merchandise. The files say he's Serbian, interestingly enough, with links to some shady Balkan groups. Let me see. That's the Rubaiyat, all right. Well done. Leave it with the purser for safekeeping. It shall be undisturbed there. Find anything else? Quite significant. This man, here with Zeitel. That's Barbican. I'll keep this. Good work. The painting's what Zeitel's really after. You must secure it. Where or how, I don't care. Just find it and bring it back here. Remember, leave the Rubaiyat with the purser for safekeeping. He might also know where the painting's stored. Sneak a peek at his cargo manifest. That should help you find the painting. Cargo stored somewhere beneath the forecastle deck. Things are thickening up quite nicely, aren't they? We've got to get our hands on that painting. Don't fail.
As head of White Star, I say Bruce Ismay should get a medal. I was at his table this afternoon. The food, exquisite, really. It's Mrs. Candy! Helen! My dear, I simply must run. Lovely chatting with you. Goodbye.
It's you. I just developed some new photos. Wait till you see this.
Eric, who's at the door?
There they are, the steel tycoon Conkling with Lord Lambeth discussing business.
Eric!
I've got to go. Goodbye.
Thea. Oh, what do you want? Why, what do you know? Not that it matters. I'm much too busy. I must get this message through from Mr. Thayer. Mr. Thayer expects his private train car to meet him in New York, and I can't leave my post. But I need to send this telegram. Help? Yes, it might be helpful if you delivered this message to the wireless room for me. Even better, why don't you send it for me? Mr. Thayer is a very important man. So send the telegram at once. And when you have, don't forget to tell me. Very nice. Security is our first priority. I'll put it in the safe. Glad to be of service. Good night.
And Sasha to the ship's stern. They're having a rather heated conversation. See if you can listen in. I'll track their movements.
We've a problem, Zeitel.
Which is?
The Rubaiyat. It was not at your drop point.
You are sure?
Most definitely.
But I put it there myself. What happened?
There's a third party on board, an agent working against you. Against us.
How do you know?
My servant saw them at the drop. They now have the Rubaiyat. This could ruin me, Zeitel, if I were found out.
We should take precautions.
What about the painting? Did your associate bring it up from the cargo hold?
No, I don't have it.
No? But I put it there myself.
Sasha, I've discovered a traitor. Don't look so startled. It is not you.
You mean Heidelitz, your associate?
No longer my associate, I am afraid. Willie was an intellectual, and intellectuals aren't smart enough for espionage. Now, I must recover the painting and its plans. I fear this third party may already have possession of it.
And Heidelitz?
Thank you for asking. Willie will bring no further harm to the fatherland, I assure you. Let us plan.
Yes, can I help you? You sent it? Marvelous. I was afraid you'd forgotten. Mr. Thayer'll be most grateful. And let them think the purser's not doing his job. I am the purser, and as purser, I am the one who looks after the passengers. Mr. Thayer is Vice President of the Pennsylvania Railroad, and it is I who shall inform the Thayers that their train will be waiting. So, if you'll excuse me... Yes, can I help you? Oh, wait, go away, I'm too busy. Mr. Isidore Strauss, he's lost a cufflink, and he's so particular. Thank you. It is a gold cufflink. Mr. Strauss will be very grateful.
Hello there. You again. You'll never guess who I saw earlier. The man himself, Isidore Strauss, the owner of Macy's department store, standing right over there. Haymakers is a fine shop, but Macy's, man, that's the big store. But just as I was readying myself to make an introduction, he leaves. You seen him? At the foot of the stairs with his wife. Let me know if you see him, will you?
Yes, can I help you? Wonderful. Mr. Strauss will be quite pleased that I found his cufflink. I shall deliver it at once. I'm just sure his gratitude will be reflected most generously.
Nobody's allowed to... You've got the keys. You're a carter. Of course you can enter. Right this way. Come to visit your new automobile, have you? Can't say I blame you. She's a beauty. Gleaming like a new penny. Right this way. Mind your head, it's dark in there. You'll find your way from here.
Did you get the painting? Splendid. But now something else has come up. That snooty steward Smethels was looking for you. Find him and kick him smartly in the shins. Here's a message for you.
Yes, can I help you? A painting, is it? I'll put this in the safe. Very good, then. Good night.
Still wondering? This ship holds a strange fascination for you. Most peculiar. I've a message from a young German gentleman by the name of Heidelitz. He would like to meet you in the squash court. They've opened it for him. Highly irregular, I must say, especially for fencing. Surely he is. The percentage of passengers demanding the courts late on a Sunday night is small. Minuscule, actually. Yes, apparently he does not favor racket sports. If memory serves me, there is an entrance to the squash courts on D-deck. Meanwhile, I shall inform the young German gentleman that you will meet him presently.
Hello, I'm Conkling. Good of you to come. I trust you're finding the accommodation satisfactory? You're welcome. White Star's anxious for everyone to be as comfortable as possible, particularly on the maiden voyage. Sorry to seem mysterious. You must understand someone in my position, an investor in this ship, needs discretion. You're under no obligation, of course. I have a slight problem. You may be able to help. A servant has stolen an important business document from me, and I must recover it. A few years ago, my wife Beatrix hired a young Irish girl as maid in our London house. We treated her well. 2 weeks ago, she up and left without notice, taking a certain letter with her. I'd given up all hope of recovering it, until my wife spotted her this morning on the third-class promenade. Needless to say, I checked with the purser. She'd been scheduled to sail on the Philadelphia. But those passengers were transferred on board the Titanic because of a coal strike. I'd prefer to employ the services of a third party. You. Government officials, friends of mine, told me a bureau agent was on board. I found you through Mrs. Cashmore. A preposterous woman, but she does have an eye for accomplishment. Look, will you help me? You will be rewarded handsomely. Her name is Shayla Hacker. She's 20 or thereabouts. I was her benefactor, one might say. Yes. This puts me in a difficult situation. This young woman, she could cause considerable damage to me, to my reputation if she goes to the newspapers. Confidential business matters. Conkling Steel provides steel for ships. This ship, for example. If the contents of the letter were publicized, our competitors would profit greatly. I've gotten word to her to meet on the poop deck. Go in my place. Tell her there'll be no trouble if she returns the letter. Afterwards, report to me in our suite, B59. Her name is Shayla Hacker. Good night.
What did I tell you, Shay? I knew he'd not come in person.
Hush, Jack, hush. Conklin, he did send you, didn't he?
I told you, it's a trick. I knew Conklin wouldn't come. He sent one of his cronies instead. I'm her brother, and Conklin. Because of him, Shayla's had to leave everything and everyone she knows.
Jack, don't.
That son of a bitch. She was his maid and all the time violating it.
Hush, Jack. I'll have no more of it. Go on, Jack, say it.
You tell Conklin we have his letter, and he'll not be seeing it till he coughs up a tidy sum, too. 5,000, do you hear? Dollars. Enough to get her started right in America. And if he moves a hand against us, I'll make sure the newspapers get the letter and print it. So tell Conklin. 5,000. Measured against what he has, it's a bloody bargain.
Meet us here again. At 1 tonight.
$5,000, then he'll get his damn letter. Agreed?
It's your only chance. We'll be waiting for you.
I'd hoped to meet you earlier. However, my wife and I were calling on the Astors. Madeline's pregnant. Beatrix was thrilled. We have no children. I see. It's a ransom. May I present Mrs. Conkling?
You should pitch the ungrateful girl overboard. Your clothes, French cut, quite fetching. I forgot to tell you when we first met.
Beatrix is on her way to California. She's got a new project in... Where is it, dear?
A cow town, someplace called Los Angeles. I'm doing up a little resort there. It's called the Beverly Hills Hotel. So, where is the Irish tart? Dreaming of her newfound riches?
We were just talking about that, darling.
My husband and myself extended every courtesy, showed every kindness to Shayla. We've no children. Shayla became quite dear to us. So her theft hurt us all the more for the trust we placed in her. Don't fail us. Now, excuse me. I must retire. I have a frightful headache. It was a pleasure. Good night. Andrew?
My wife felt strongly about Shayla. As I've told you, we've no children of our own. Look, you must get that letter. Don't wait until tomorrow. See if you can speak to Shayla directly, without her brother. She's in the third-class cabins forward, on F deck, number 59. Good night. I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Come. Charles received a telegram from the solicitors. Our estate's to be sold off. He asked about the necklace I gave you. I told him I left it with a purser. Don't say anything to him or Sasha. Not him and his group of... Oh, there's much more to tell you. Can you meet me in my stateroom? I'm in B70. It's Charles' custom to go for a drink in the smoking room. When he does, visit me.
Lord Lambeth. I'm traveling with my wife, Lady Lambeth. George has decided to take the air. I opted to take this. My wife, Georgia, she's unwell. Yes, it's not the best situation, I'm afraid. And just one of my trouble. Too many to speak of. With Georgia, how else? 4 years ago at a house party, she enchanted me. We got married and were happy. But Georgia's moods grew volatile. She imagined plots against her everywhere, even with Sasha. Sasha cares more for money than for her. I know that now. Money to Sasha. He's an art dealer. Money is everything to him. But Sasha has his secrets, and I know about them. Ever hear of the Black Hand? They're a secret band of Serbian nationalists. Their goal is to fashion a greater Serbia out of various bits of the Balkans. Anyway, Sasha's half Serbian. His gallery's their London meeting place, though I rather doubt Sasha's too involved. Terrorism isn't profitable. Besides, the Tatler Society coverage rarely extends to Sarajevo. He's on board, actually, shepherding a collection of paintings to New York. But that's a secret. Good night. And if you should speak to my wife, remember, she tells some fairly tall tales.
Enter. I wasn't sure you'd come. Andrew Conkling? He's loaned money to Charles. A lot of it, I think. First, I want to know how you fared these last years. Rather well from the looks of you. I'm glad to see you. You're the only person I can trust. Please promise me you'll help. You always were there when I needed you. Now, with my life a horrible mess. When Charles discovered my affair with Sasha, he was quite calm. But I know him, you see. His revenge is taking the necklace, leaving me with nothing. And Sasha, I'd never trust him again. Don't you see? They're looking for guns, for bombs. At a party last June, Sasha was quite passionate. A Slavic trait, I'm told. His mother came from Belgrade. I fell in love. We used to meet at his gallery, but we were never alone. They'd come at all hours. Sasha's friends. His gallery was their London base. They were rough men, foreign. Sasha told me they were part of a Balkan aid society. Stupid girl that I was, I believed him. But then I found out. These people, they... Charles!
Please, Georgia, continue. Was it my title or my income you found so desirable? I was never sure. Now that both assets are depleted, why don't you go to Sasha? Maybe he can help, as he's done before.
Ignore him. I see the smoking room's had its usual effect.
Idle gossip, apparently.
You see his attitude? Please, go.
Since you obviously can't depend on me, here, take the chill out of the air. Thank you for seeing after my wife. Now I think it best you leave the happy couple, drowning in their happiness. Good night.
Remember, I need your help.